Hey, what's going on, guys? The Heart Pirates TCG, and I'm bringing you like a more of a podcast style video with this guy Manny. He's also a YouTuber. I'll link his channel in the description. But him and I just kind of had some general thoughts about playing Doflamingo and set two and just competitive play and lines of play, deck building, stuff like that. We had a couple technical difficulties in this video. So I'm gonna try my best to edit them out, but they kind of like carried over. Not, it wasn't really huge. It was just like a couple like bad sound snippets, from his mic messing up. But for the most part, it was great content. So if you guys want to learn a lot, just be sure to watch this whole video because we dropped some pretty good knowledge, I would say. So without further ado, here's the video. Who am I here with today?
You're here with Manuel Martinez. I'm the only Doffy player to top in the Miami Treasure Cup,
The
and
only
and I
one,
picked that up.
guys.
Yep.
What's crazy is, so I was actually I was playing in the side events, and then I was spectating his match. I think it was like round seven. You're playing, was it round 7 or 8? You're playing against Law. Do you remember that?
That was specifically round seven.
Round seven, yeah. And I gotta say, man, you were playing so incredibly aggressive against this Law. Do you always play that aggressive against Law, or is it?
So funny enough, I have been working on my green matchup so much that I learned my green matchup. The point where I would arguably say I'm 65-45 in favor. No, well 65-35 in favor
I was gonna
of
say the math
green.
is not adding up on
Yeah,
that.
but but because I spent so much time worried about green, and like, how do I beat Kid? What's the best way to handle the Kid situation, right? Then then when I played my first law, which happened to be my round seven matchup, it all came to me like, I don't know how I win this. So because there's a play route that you do for your red matchup, and there's a play route you do for your for your green matchup, and then as long as you follow those routes, you should win.
Hey, real
Because
quick, let
law,
me
you do both. It's like I can't do both.
hey, before we start, let me shout out your channel real quick. What's the name of your channel, bro?
So the name of my channel is Manifest. You can look it up at Manifest Gaming. And right now, I actually just dropped, yesterday, my Dolphy road to set two to see if I can make Dolphy valuable in set two. So if come over, watch it, like, subscribe, helps out.
Guys, I was watching one of his videos. He actually has really good quality. You'll see a lot of One Piece, YouTubers, they have like either really bad quality like audio or really bad quality video. He's got both audio and video, so that's a huge step up for his channel for sure. Um
Much
but
appreciated.
yeah. Hey, real quick, bro. What the lines of play for red and green? What were you talking about?
So for those lines of play, so for example, for the green matchup, it's a very much of a, I do one damage, and regardless how my board looks, regardless. So let's for example, in one of my games, I'm playing against Kid. My board was Virgo, Hawk, my leader, and a blocker. Right? That was my board, and his board was two blockers, and Okiku, if I remember correctly. And this is all I did. I literally went four into, like, I gave four Dawn to Dolphy. I was like, swing. He took the one. Even though I still had the Virgo and the Mihawk live and active, I passed. Because the thing is that I will fight the board because I could build a board better than he can and cheaper than he can.
That is true.
Because I have the Dolphys and I have the Sentamarus. So I could build a board twice as fast as he can, and I'm not sacrificing my hand to do so. Um, so when I'm and how Kid gets really strong, out of control really fast is because I feel most people are under the impression that it's like, if I could kill him before he drops Kid, I win. But all you're doing is
Just
that
giving him
you're giving
cards.
him five cards because they don't care about their life until they're gonna lose. Because
Yeah.
they're like, that's just more cards for guard, and they play
Literally, yeah.
like
Yeah.
they play four sets of 2K counters or three sets of 2K counters. So it's like you're just giving them guard. what this does is that you're doing one and you're keeping your guys active because now he has to spend Dawn to play like Ezo or Cat Viper or straw sword, something to tap my guys
And then
because he can't hit my guys
also,
if my guys are active.
exactly. And if he plays Okiku, he has to swing in your life first before he even rests anything else.
Yes, and then that gives me the chance to guard, and then I deal with the board. Then it's one of those things where it gets to a point where he drops.
So while you do that, I actually do want to say I completely agree with that with the red. So I treat red the same way. Like I'll deal 1 life, and then from that point on, I will only swing at their board until like they have 0 cards in their hand, and then I'll trickle them some food, right? I'll give them one. I'll do like 1 life. I'll do 2 life, and then it's like okay, now let me deal with your board again, and then I'll deal 1 life and 2 life, and that's kind of how you beat red. I actually
Exactly.
so I treat the green matchup a little differently because I play blue purple crocodile, right? So
Yeah.
like my deck is a lot. I actually think in terms of like win percentage, I am 80-20. Like I beat Kid 80% of the time to beats me 20% of the time because I do the same thing, right? Except for I don't swing at his characters. I will bottom deck them or I will pop them, right? I'll play my 7 cost king. I'll play my Rush Kaido to kill your Hawkins, Sobbles,
Yes.
all that. Yeah.
Yes. Purple's a great color against green.
Yeah.
It's a much better color. The only problem I have with purple, and it's the only and part of me was thinking about playing Blurple Croc, but the issue with Blurple Croc I have is that you you lose to feel Purple Croc loses to Law and Doffy really bad because both of them could swarm the board really fast and do cheap fives at you. Because even though, yeah, you have 2K counters, 4K counters, and all this for days, Blue and Law have Dolphy and Law have a way to one deal with your Miss All Sunday, so that way you get the bare minimum out of her, or you don't even get her to trigger at all. And then two, they could just swarm a bunch of fives because you'll be like, okay, I pay a Dawn for this event, I pay a Dawn for this event. Eventually, you run out of events because they have more attacks. And I feel Dolphy is strong when they're like 7. You're like, okay, well, here's a 4K counter, or here's
Yeah.
a this, here's a that. But when they're doing a bunch of fives, you start to realize like, oh, I'm running through my hand too much, and you're hoping to get to the stabilized state when you're like, okay, I have open a Dawn on my leader and I have a Croc Dawn. But that 2-turn setup you have to do where you're like, okay, I play Croc, give him a Dawn, I have 2 extra Dawn left, and hopefully have the events. That's your weakest moment.
You know what's funny? I'm so happy you said that because I've been telling all my subscribers that I think 7-drop Croc is actually a win more card that is completely useless in the deck.
Exactly.
So I don't play a single one. My entire strategy is playing petty blockers, 1, 2, or 3 cost blockers, and then surrounding them with like Mihawk, King, Kaido, and just like beating you down. So I think in that matchup against blue in the standard matchup how most people play it's a disadvantage, but the I play basically all purple except for like blockers and 2K counters and events that are all blue. So like I feel like I have a much better matchup against that. My only bad matchup I would say is Kaido because he just out Kaidos you.
He outgallios you. That's a good one. But yeah, but that's for that matchup for the Blurple Croc. Um, but the only problem I have with Blurple Croc, what I feel that the game did to Blurple Croc is that, in set 2, I think they did a good job. Besides making new decks, letting the set 1 decks have little extra cards. I feel
Yes.
Blurple Croc got shitted out because I can't find one card where you're like that was meant for Blurple Croc. You know,
You and me
because
both, bro. You and me both.
because because at least for the Dolphy, who in turn also didn't get a bunch of support, but at least he got a vanilla 6K that he could cheat out, which
Hold
is
on,
great. I
hold
love it.
on, Jinbei, bro, 4/5 Jinbei that bottom decks a 3 on KO.
On KO,
Well, it's
okay,
not in
okay.
set two, but
First of all,
like,
that's not in the set though.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's an event pack.
That card is so
But
nuts. That card is
well,
nuts.
that's that. So funny enough, 1 through 10, I give that card a 7.
Really.
Issue is that it's because he's on KO and he's not a blocker. And I think people are confusing his strength for a card like Kuma, where he has a similar effect, was like on KO do something, and people I think are confusing the fact where it's like, oh well, like with Kuma, it goes off all the time. Well, it goes off easier with Kuma. Kuma's a blocker, so sometimes you have
Yeah.
to force your opponent to kill him. But
Yeah.
when it comes to Jinbei, you could drop him. You drop him, and then he's on KO. So you're under the impression, well, my opponent's is either one has to kill him, and then I bounce something, or two, he's always going to let it swing and is a free 5K.
That's
The
kind of good though,
reality,
you know, like the constant threat of the 5K.
this is the thing. So let's say hypothetically, Doflamingo summon Jinbei. Jinbei comes out rested. Nothing else I could do about that.
Yeah.
Before my opponent decides to play anything, just goes leaders, put 2 into Jinbei, kill him. And that's it.
All right. Well, I
Okay,
mean,
well,
in that situation, I don't think it's that good. But like, if
but
in other situations, I feel like it can come in handy, you know? Because it's like if
yeah,
you get it out after turn like 2 or 3, and like they're playing like they're playing pretty much any deck other than purple, I feel like it's always going to be relevant, you know? Because then they have to play around like, okay, well this card's automatically going to get bottom decked, you know? So it's like you have to play it a little bit different.
it's just for like set 2 because one, for example, one of the main decks in set 2 is going to be Zoro, and okay, and then the way I see it is like, okay, I'm going to bottom deck a 1 cost. He won an advantage. Like there's no, like there's that, and then there's also like Blue Ivankov,
Hey,
which deals with
I
a
hate
bunch
to
of
interrupt
damage.
you, but your mic your mic's messing up
Oh man, I
again.
thought I fixed it.
All right, we're back. We're
Um,
back.
yeah. But that's the thing with the card. The card's good. I'm not saying the card is bad in any way, shape, or form. It's just that we're entering a much faster format because Kinemon is giving green gas.
A lot
Because
of
now
gas.
because now one they could drop the 4 cost 6K Yamato that taps is 6 or less on 3. So
Yep.
their second turn they're like, here's a 6K.
Yep.
And then if they're not doing that, if they, for example, let's say they go second on their second turn 4, they could drop the 5 cost Yamato that has double attack banish.
Yep.
Like
Not to
like
mention Okiku on turn 1 is kind of net. It's kind of nuts.
yes, Kiku, like the deck, green is gonna enter like it's gonna feel like red. The only saving grace is that they don't have fucking rush cards. But but
I'll
but
tell you
the
though,
thing is,
black kind of kills green though. Black kind of kills
well,
green.
which is great. I love it because black checks green,
Yep.
and I think it's great because blue checks black.
Yes.
Especially Doffy. So the reason why I feel Doffy is going to be strong in the next set is because black is a color, and black has clear answers to everything except for particularly Law and Doffy, because it does really good at controlling the board, but it's only in an honest game of One Piece where people are hard dropping cards.
Yeah.
When Law and Dolphy are cheating out units, that's where, because the thing is, everyone talks about, oh,
That's where it all falls
black
apart.
pops, but like it pops, it pops, it pops. I go, well, I need y'all to remember that the first part of that popping effect says discard a card. A lot of the black cards say discard a card,
Yep.
tap whatever, pop something.
Yep.
And it's cool when you're playing an honest game where you're like, my turn, I play 2 units, pass or whatever, you know, and they go, okay, well, I'm popping one of them.
Yep.
But like when Lol or Dolphy is like, all right, my board's empty, I play 4 units, go. It's like, well, I can't pop 4 units.
Yeah. So you think Z in that aspect is going to see more play than just pure black?
Yes, 100%. I think Z will be the best black deck.
So I played it. I played it in I was streaming the simulator and I got destroyed by Z. I was playing Kid and I got massacred. It was embarrassing. It was very embarrassing.
I had on one time I played Z. It was I think it was like the second time I played Z, and I had to go into my combat log to see what just happened because this is what happened. This man goes on turn 10. I had what's it called? I had Dolphy, Oa, and then like some blockers, and all of a sudden he goes drop
Kuzan.
Ice Admiral, dude.
Yeah,
Kuzan. He goes,
Kuzan. Yeah.
drop Kuzan, pop Boa, effective Z, pop the Doffy. I was like, excuse me?
Oh.
But I was like, wait. But doesn't, I'm like, oh, but doesn't Kuzan need like 10 Dawn? And I was like, oh, wait, that dude eats 4 to just pop a 3, but Kuzan drops it by 5. Oh, this thing's
Yeah,
cracked.
cracked. If that deck had 5 life, it would just be absolutely nutty.
Well, the cool thing about, in particular, that deck, which is another thing that I'm super excited for, is that you get to play like stupid cards like the Uta blocker from the build deck.
Yeah,
You get to play
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and she blocks 2 attacks by herself. She don't even need no help from no mana. She over here holding it down herself.
Literally, that card is so ridiculously good, especially like if you, because like the stall. So black like is very like its key strategy is to stall until it can just pop your entire field. Essentially, when you're resting a card and blocking for 6K, like like how can you actually beat that in a way that isn't negative to you?
And the funny thing is, if you even want to be like a cheekier person, you can kill even like 9 cost Mihawks or
Yeah.
9 cost Shanks if you already have the Marine 4 down prior.
Yeah.
Because you could tap it -1, and now the Shanks and Mihawks are 8s, and now Zed could kill it when you drop the Kuzan.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like that whole like I think that the theory crafting for the purple like black Z deck I think is gonna be you're gonna see a lot of like really cool lists, and I think that's gonna be the deck that changes the most in the format, because like every like tournament there's gonna be someone playing something else, like a completely different build. So that's gonna be really fun to just see like unfold in the meta. Because I personally want to play Whitebeard. I think that deck looks so much fun.
Whitebeard to me it's something that some players just need to play in person to see how strong it really is.
Yes, yes.
Because at first I was like, I played it for the first time I played against it. It was on Sim, and I'm like, all right, playing Whitebeard. I read Whitebeard, and it was funny because I know what I read and I know what I see, but it wasn't until I was in that moment where I'm like, this is awkward. When I'm like, okay, he's 6K. He has 6 life, but he eats a life every turn. This is easy, right? Turn 1. I played something pass. He played something pass. My turn. I have 3 Dawn, and I'm like, cool. I'm gonna drop this 3 drop, and I'm like, wait. If I drop the 3 drop, I can't swing. And it's like, oh, this is awkward. So it becomes this thing of like, Whitebeard does outside of his effect that isn't so easy to see is that what he's saying in reality by being 6K is saying your opponent, when they're on 4 Dawn, they're actually on 3 Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
They're choosing not to attack you.
Yes, literally. And you can never get like Law is infinitely worse to Whitebeard.
Because Law right here has a hard time pushing over 6, and if they push over 6, they're messing up their combo. All right.
All right. So let's talk real quick about like, so your deck building. How do you build your deck, right? So like a lot of people that watch this are going to be Doflamingo players. Like, how do you build your deck, and like what thoughts go into it?
So what I do, where I feel a lot of other people don't do, is that because a lot of people, when they're like, oh, I want to find a new list, they go onto like YouTube channels like ours, and they're like,
shout out
that profile, he's doing good, he makes it make sense, I'm gonna copy that one, right?
Yep.
But the issue is then when they play it, it's almost funny, because it's like the person that built the deck catered it because in their head, because everyone is their own individual, and that's where I kind of try to hope guide in my channel about where it's like, because everyone's an individual, the deck may show results, but it showed results because to them it made sense.
The pilot.
It makes sense to them, and that's why, like, for people with Sentomaru, where it's like, well, yeah, but you can have better, like, if you took the Sentomarus out and you took the blocker passive pieces out, then then like you can have more aggression on the board, and you don't have to be scared of the kid matchup. It's like, but to me, that doesn't make sense, and so my deck was catered in that way, and that's the reason why, like, because the thing is, me as a player, I like to have the ability that if I need to pivot my play, I have that option. And when you build very linear, exactly how it sounds when you're building linear, it's hard to go and change an angle if you're going in a line. And because, for example, like the Sentomaru, I could cheat out a blocker if I'm in need of a blocker, and I could cheat out the
attacker, yeah,
and whatever. And then also the fact of, like, when I have the Kuma, if I block with the Kuma, if I need an extra blocker, I could drop the other blocker. Or let's say that's their last attack. I go, okay, block with the Kuma, bring out the 6K.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that, where it's that, like, the reason why Law is so good is because it could pivot whenever it wants. It's the best pivot. And I feel that's why Laws could change, and it makes sense why Laws play tech cards, because they're able to pivot. And that's where my blue list kind of gets its inspiration from, because it's like, I can play tech cards because my deck could pivot. And that's and sometimes it's a blessing and a curse. Sometimes I wish I did have the third Mihawk, but I also come to myself and realize, if I play 2 Mihawk and I lost, a third one wasn't going to fix the situation.
Yeah, so I think One Piece is the only game that I can remember, and I've played, I tell this to everyone, but I've played like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Hearthstone, I played freaking Gwent, like all these, like, Pokemon, and it's like the only game that I can remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the pilot matters so much more than the actual deck list, at least to an extent, right? Like, it's just weird like that.
Well, I could say that you're 100% right. I also feel that way. And I think what shows that the most is that the game itself is pretty healthy, because, yeah, obviously Blue doesn't have as much representation and topping as the other 3 colors, but it still can show.
Yeah.
And because every deck is actually tops, it shows that every deck can win. And that means that every deck is viable.
Yep.
It's up to the person to find the deck that actually clicks with them. And that's and I feel that's just the first step. And then it's you committing to that deck. Because for example, there's a bunch of players that a couple of my of people at my locals that were getting ready for the Treasure Cup, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna play this, I'm gonna play this. I was like, okay. And then the day of, they switched it, and they're like, nah, I feel better with this. I was like, nah, man, like, that's the thing. Like, you have to commit to your deck.
Yeah.
Because
you have to play the deck the certain way. Like, you can have the same leader, but if you switch up 5 cards in that deck, you have to, like, learn how to play it in that way to account for, like, drawing the cards, like, the ones that you put in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just something where the pilot had, and you can feel it when you play someone, when someone is comfortable with their deck and when they're not comfortable with their deck.
Absolutely.
And
that's why, and we can go back to the blue purple croc real quick before we go on, but like, I'm so comfortable with my deck, like I play kids, and like the second you do like the leader reveal, and like they're like, oh, he's playing like a troll deck, they don't realize that like I play that matchup more than any other matchup, and I know how to beat your deck way more than you know how to beat my deck. Yeah, and like multiple times in the pre-Treasure Cup and in the Treasure Cup side events, I would like drop my leader down, and they would I would draw off it, and they'd like literally like 4th or 5th turn of the game like reach over to like look at what my leader does, and I'm like, how are you waiting that long to figure out what my guy does first off? And like, that's a good sign for me, because if you don't know what he does, then you're definitely gonna lose this game.
I don't know what this deck does. Period. Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, do you remember all your matchups? Like, it doesn't have to be in a row, but for the gist of it.
I actually do. Besides my round 5 matchup, I know all my matches by heart except
it just completely blanked around lunchtime.
Well, lunch was after the 3rd match. I remember my 4th match.
Okay.
But it was so funny because right now I was writing up a script for my tournament report, and then if I were to show you my TypeScript, it says round 5 opponent. Say sorry 10-20 times because I can't read what it is.
It was a win though, right? Or you don't remember?
A win. It was a win,
Okay.
but like, and it's so funny because I'm pretty sure I know you're aware. For the pairings, they use the app like Best Coast Pairings,
Yeah.
and I have a name, and even with his name, like I don't remember what he played. I
I'm not
can't.
gonna lie to you, bro. I never remember anyone's name that I played on there. Like I literally go off of round.
I feel it. But yeah, so in order, real fast, it was Green, Kid, Zoro, Kid, Kaido. I don't remember the 5th round.
Say sorry
Uh,
20 times.
the Doffy Mirror, Lol, Doffy Mirror, Luffy.
Okay. So what do you think your what is your easiest matchup?
My easiest matchup, I would have to say it's a tie between Purple and Zoro particular.
Why do you say that?
So for Purple, it's one of those things where I could generate a board and rush them down. And what I do when I play Purple is, because I have the Sentomaru, let's say I get the Doffy online and have Sentomaru in hand, I'll just keep the Sentomaru in hand and wait for him to blow up the board. And then I drop it and rebuild a whole new board. And then when he's at 7-8 Dawn the next turn, it doesn't matter because I have a board of 4, and with the 8 Dawn, he at most he's gonna play a body, like a king or something. Because now we're at the late point in the game. You're gonna keep your guard because I knocked you down.
Yeah.
And then if he and then usually they drop like a queen because they're like, oh, queen will get me there. But I have Dolphins and Mihawks.
That queen never matters.
The queen never matters to me.
I cut the queen in my deck, my Crocodile deck, because it kept getting jet pistoled, it kept getting Kaido'd, Doflamingo'd, Mihawk. Like there's so many ways to take out that queen. It's just such a waste of Dawn.
So the funny thing is, my Boa in my Doffy deck, I play 4 of her. Through 11 games, she did 1 damage and blocked 2 attacks in 11 games. Because I said it in my channel too. She has a 3rd effect. I don't know if you know it, but it's almost the same as Queen's, where it will get jet pistol.
I must have missed that part of the text when I was reading it.
On the Queen card is right between the draw 2 discard 1 and the blocker part. It's right there in the frame.
And what's funny is people will comment on my videos and they'll be like, no queen in this list? How troll. I'd be like, bro, it literally doesn't do anything. Like I'd much rather play a petty blocker like a Black Maria, for example, and like them to waste 2 Dawn to jet pistol it than me like draw 2, discard 1, Dawn -1, and then it get jet pistoled. Like it just doesn't do anything.
And you're right. You're right. Well, all the queen does in reality is it helps stop people from doing the 5k swing.
Yeah.
And that's all it goes. Here's a card, and they can't 5 swing you. And that's it. And that's all it does.
One time, by the way, one time.
One time?
Yeah, because like you block with it, and now what? Now it's fodder, you know?
Well, it's still fodder, but it's a 6k fodder that your opponent at least has to respect and swing with a 7.
Yeah.
Like, but that's best case scenario.
Exactly.
If I was the opponent and they're like, oh, block with queen, and I still have attackers, I'm just gonna go to your face. You're 5k. What the? I don't need to fight this. No, and it's so funny because in LoL, I'm like, when I play LoL, what I do is I go Otama on queen. He goes, yeah. I go, okay, I'm swinging for your face. Because now if you're gonna block with the queen, it dies.
Yeah.
So I don't care. 5.
And that's funny because that's literally how you play against the Kaido matchup too. Like even my deck's slow, obviously compared to your deck, but like there's no reason to like battle out against Kaido's cards because you'll never like kill them, right? They have so many 2k counters. They have Blast Breath, Thunder Bagua. Like you'll never kill those cards, and if you do, they'll just play another one that's like just as big the next turn. So just swing at their face and hope to kill them before anything happens.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's just another thing. And then another thing you could do as any player, it doesn't matter as color. You could just slow play purple and be like, okay, swing, play, and don't go for their board. And then there's gonna be a point where they have like a queen,
I
um,
know exactly where you're going.
a king, and then maybe a blocker, and you're like, I wish you would 10 drop.
Yes, literally,
Would
literally.
I
Dude,
wish you would
your
because
mind, you think so, we think so alike, it's not even funny. Like, this is crazy.
and but yeah, but like it's one of those things where it's like I wish you would, and then you could tell when the Kaido is bad because like they'll get scared on false impressions, and it's one of those things where it's like you could pivot your play at that point and they don't see it because what you could do is because they always go leader to life, king to life, queen to life, but they're trying to make you discharge, right?
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
don't want to board.
yeah,
And then they go, okay, now drop the 10 drop because now I got the maximum value
yeah,
from the Kaido because I attacked you and I blew up the board.
yeah.
Oh, believe it or not, purple players, what you could is go for the board, see if I block at all. If I don't and let the things die, because I'm under the assumption that you're trying to 10 drop me and I'm baiting you to do it, then you bait me into doing that. Don't drop the 10 drop and then build your board more.
So
That board, then you could 10 drop me.
so what's
But there's no
funny I was talking to a really good player at our locals. His name is Matt. And I was driving him home one day because his ride left a little early, and he was telling me about some guy misplaying one time. Like he activated Blast Breath when he was at 8 Dawn, so he was at 7 Dawn, and he was like the like from that point I ended up winning the game because the threat of his 10 drop Kaido is no longer in play the next turn. So like sometimes you can literally not have it, but you being at 10 Dawn will like make people play so much differently because Kaido's like strength, the threat of their Dawn count changes the game completely. And like I feel like people don't understand that.
no. It's definitely a thing where like Kaido play. I feel like you could tell how seasoned a person is in card games or at least One Piece when if they're playing purple and you see that they messed up their Dawn count and you're like, now you're gonna get punished,
Oh
and
yeah.
they don't know how punishing it is until it's their turn, and they're like, I'm on 9.
Yep.
Dang it.
Yep. or what they'll do is like they'll use their leader effect too early and they're at like 5 Dawn the next turn. I'm like, why would you do that? That's like that makes no sense.
Oh, the amount of Kaidos I saw at the Treasure Cup that failed to do kill combo,
Yep.
which isn't hard.
It's the standard one.
It's give 7 to leader, make him 12 swing. Effect. Swing with it's not that hard. And they and it blows my mind because it's like even if they block your first 12, then you don't burn.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where it's like, all right, now we could pivot.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like purple players just don't know how to pivot. They're like, nope, I have to Raigeki the board, I need to start the board. Like I have to. And the more guys they have, the better my Kaido is. It's like, no, that's not always
Literally. Bro, what's funny is like I don't I hate to say this, right? But like it feels like there's like a lot of Kaido players, not all of them, but I want to say 90% of Kaido players just believe that you have to kill someone like you have to kill them every turn, right? Like if you're not trying to kill them this turn, you instantly lose the game. Like Kaido can build a board just as well as anyone else, and it can kill your cards in the process. You don't have to go for the life every single time. You don't have to try to play your whole game around blowing up my board of 3 blockers. Like there's other ways. There's other ways.
And the funny thing I love is it actually happened in my round 4. And then the moment he did it, he knew he did wrong. He did wrong on the test. But this is how the play went. My board was a Doflamingo Virgo. I don't remember which one. I know it was a 7K. It was a 7K, a Sentomaru, a 1-cost Lull, Kuma, and a blocker Pacifista.
It's a big board.
Yeah, it's a big board. It's pretty big. He goes, swing 5 with leader first. And at this point, I already know he's baiting me for the 10 drop.
Yeah.
And because the board is 2 kings, a queen, and his leader.
Yeah.
And he goes, swing 5 to face. I go, block it with law. He goes, swing. I go, block it with blocker pacifista.
Yeah.
I still have the Kuma. And then he goes, 7 to face. I go, I'll take it. And then he goes, okay. And then like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And he goes 7 to face. I take it again. Because I know he's itching to drop it.
Yeah. They have that little itch. Yeah. It's a compulsion.
Because the thing is, he didn't want he swung with the leader first. I feel like if you're gonna try to bait that play like that, start with the kings, because it makes sense to me that okay, he's swinging with 7Ks because he wants to play big bodies, but he doesn't need to invest more Dawn into these guys.
Yeah.
But the more you go 5 to face, I already know you're trying to save Dawn for
sequencing is everything in One Piece, bro. Everything.
So I take the 2 damage, and he's looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, okay. And then he goes, drop the Kaido. I go, okay, affect the Kuma, bring out the vanilla pacifista.
Yeah.
And what makes that strong is that because when Kaidos do that, they're under the impression that I blow up the board. They had nothing except their leader, but I have 2 bodies, so I'm in control. But if you do that play and you have no more Dawn extra, but I have more than 1 body, you're in trouble.
Yeah, because you're automatically taking 2 life that turn.
Yes.
Automatically.
And then I did 1, he saved the other, but it didn't matter because then I played like 3 blockers.
Yep.
Because it doesn't matter, you have this giant, ginormous man.
Yeah.
You're at 8 Dawn.
Yep.
The best to do is drop king, blow up 2 of my blockers. If they were proper count, mine was a law and a 4 cost.
Yeah.
But drop a king, blow up a blocker,
and then you take more damage the next turn.
And then at this point, I still had 2 damage. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna take the 2.
Yeah.
And then every time he tried to go for my pacifista is when I blocked.
Yeah.
So I was, okay, because you have no life. If I have 2 attackers, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna load everything up on 1.
Yep.
Swing. If you have it, you have it, and then 5.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, and the thing is, like, oh man, like, so that's obviously how you play against the purple matchup. The thing is though, like, sometimes purple, there's no outplaying purple. It's like, okay, I have the king when I need it, I have the Kaido when I need it, and like that's the worst deck to play against because you can never like account for what they can actually do. It's like on one hand you can just lose the next turn, on the other hand my whole field gets nuked and I lose the next turn. It's so bad. It feels so bad to play against Kaido, even if they suck, because it's like if I'm unlucky, I just lose anyway. You
get punished for doing your best. Literally, like, I played the board perfect. I have 5 bodies. He has nothing. 10 drop. Well, scoop him.
Yep, literally. Hey, real quick, when you're playing Doflamingo, what's a hand that you're looking to like that you wouldn't mulligan off of?
So
obviously Perona, right?
No, actually, I am more like Perona's in my hand. I'll probably keep it, but it's not a guarantee. I'm actually looking more. Starting now, I learned that going second as Doffy is better, and because I go second, I actually look for Alvida.
Really? Okay. I was watching your video about the Alvida.
Because so the thought process is literally, I go second. 1, I get an extra Dawn, and 2, I get an extra card.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing is, even if I don't have the Alvida, my start is, let's say I don't get Perona in either one of those hands, right? It doesn't matter because on my second turn, I'm at 4 Dawn. I can still pay the Perona and then have 3 for Doffy.
Wow.
So because I realized that, where I'm like, it doesn't matter if I go first or second. On my second turn, I'm still going to be able to Doffy. The only difference is that I have a 2-card leeway. If I don't have Perona, that I can get Perona. Because I get 1 draw from my turn from my first turn because I went second, and then my second turn, which is my Doffy turn, and
Okay.
then and and then if I did want to take the damage, I have 3 chances to get that Perona.
So do you want to blind go second, or do you want to go first most of the time, or does it depend on matchups?
So the funny thing is the only thing I might want to go first on is against Zoro, but besides that, I always want to go second. I never,
Always.
I always want to go second because, and then people say the argument is like, oh, well, don't you want to drop, Mihawk and Doffy on curve? And the answer to that is that it doesn't matter because every other deck would draw plays on evens because the 8-drop kid is on even. If they went first, they go 7-9.
Yeah.
They can't play till 9 anyways. And before they get to 9, I'm on 8, which allows me to go Doffy Perona, Doffy Law. That extra Dawn where people are like, oh, well, I didn't get the Doffy as soon as I want. No. You Doffy the same turn.
Yeah.
Still Doffy on turn 4. Because even if you went first, you're going to Doffy on turn 4. So it didn't change anything. You just don't like that your opponent got a chance to be on 7 before you do. But it doesn't change.
Which it doesn't change anything because if they drop 7-drop kid, like you're gonna drop Doflamingo the next turn anyway.
Yeah, so it like the moment I realized that, my games were significantly easier. I go second, I get the extra card, I get to do everything, and then back to the Alvida thing, which is where because once I figured that out, Alvida is now I play Alvida on 2 against my green and my red. Green and my red matchup. They are not going to drop Robin because now they're on 3.
Yeah.
They're not going to drop Robin. They're not going to drop Okiku. And then
they kind of don't want to drop Zoro either because I mean you have 2 cards to get rid of it.
Exactly, and then I have 2 cards to get rid of the Zoro.
Yeah.
So it means that those are the only good cards on 3. And believe it or not, if those cards aren't played, then
huge advantage.
Then I'm on the huge advantage, and I'm discouraging them from playing it.
Yeah.
And then from that point, sorry. And then,
you're good.
And then from that point, I'm like, let's say they go Robin. I bounce the Robin. I get to play my one block blockers, and I know she's not going to kill him next turn.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that where you control the board, and then even if and if people were like, oh well, then when you swing with her and you discard, I go, yeah, if I discard it's whatever. But the thing is, when I swing with her and he either blocks or doesn't, that equals out the card that because if she did a damage, then it was worth me discarding. And then if he guards, I still rip the card out. So it was a card for a card.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to choose my card, and he had to give up a counter.
I actually don't want to post this because now everyone's going to be like playing Alvidas and like bouncing my blockers. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't think you should listen to this guy. He has no credibility. I don't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
He's just some random homeless guy I found in the street that was playing one.
I was going to say, I think, oh, my bad. Go on.
No, but that's just a thought process. Is that because you control, because Doffy is really good at the mid game, where I would argue not even Law could deal with him in the mid game.
Oh yeah.
Because in the mid game, Doffy does it almost blindly. Law kind of has to see his pieces.
Yeah.
But because you took away the early game by playing Alvida first, you took away the early game, and then now we're in the mid game, and then you just control the board and suffocate their hands.
Late game is so much easier.
It makes the late game easier, and then even when they drop kid, it's like, cool, I drop 8-drop kid, and it's like, well, I still have this Alvida that's been here since turn 1, and the best it was go like, because you could just give her 1 Dawn,
yeah,
and be
and then bounce the blocker,
bounce the blocker,
yeah,
and give everything to like a Doffy or something in there swing,
yeah,
and it's like, you have the guard.
So, like real quick. I think so. Going second, I think I've come to that conclusion recently as well. How going second is just better, not only for the extra card, but like the extra Dawn and whatnot. But also, I think the only deck that would prefer to go first in the like that actually that going first is so much better is Whitebeard, because you're at 6 life. You take a life at the end of your first turn. You get to attack first, and you have 6 cards, and then you're drawing into your 7th one the next turn. So you'll have 7 cards in your hand because you take that life to put you at 5, and then you draw for turn as well. Like, that is so nuts.
I would arguably say that going second with Whitebeard is better, and here's my reason why.
Really?
Because when you go first with Whitebeard, there's nothing that happened that you're not going to take that life. So if I'm going to take a life, I would rather go second to get 2 extra cards, because this is what happens. Your opponent goes first. He gets 1 Dawn. Best case scenario, he drops a Nami, and that's if you're playing red. Everyone else may drop a blocker. Wow. I really don't care. You know?
Yeah.
But now you're at 2. You have the leeway to play blockers, not play blockers, play other cards, what have you. You can play Moby Dick and already have that online. Pay 2 Moby Dick, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get your card. He gets the first attack with 3 Dawn, and now one of those Dawn has to go to even match you.
Wow.
So they only have 2 Dawn. That's where it's strong, because now you're not playing the Robin to kill my blocker. You're not playing Okiku. You're not playing a 3-drop. You're playing a 2-drop. And then if you choose not to, and you play the 3-drop, you're not attacking me. So
wow.
Now I still get first attack.
Wow. I actually did not even think about that. I think, wow, maybe Whitebeard might actually be better next set than I thought he was going to be. Because that, like, the behind the scenes of what, like, you know, him being at 6,000 and wow, like that. And then if you go second, you'll have 3 extra cards essentially, because you'll have the extra draw, you'll have the life, and then on the attacking turn, you'll have a card again. So you'll be at 8 cards instead of wow.
Anything. But the thing is, if you go first, you're literally just letting your opponent let you take the extra life. That's the way I see it.
Wow. That's crazy. Hey, real quick, I made your I got your list on I was watching your video and I made your list on OP Sim. I'm gonna just put it over here, and then obviously people that want to see like the exact like your exact list and like your thoughts behind it can check out your channel. But so 2 Mihawk, 2 Doflamingo, 2 Virgo. My brother's a great Doflamingo player, by the way. Like he's really good, and he hates Virgo, and he low key kind of hates Boa. What would you say to him?
I would say I also hate Virgo. I hate that man, but almost like a necessary evil. Because what Virgo does in your green matchup, when you kind of lost the board, he's a strong play, but the issue is you need other cards. So it's kind of like, because what he does is to do the best Virgo play. The best balanced Virgo play, it is, 1, my deck is already stacked prior, and I know what's next. And I also have to have a 2K counter, but in my list I play Love Beam. But you know, whatever 2K count, well, I mean not 2K counter, but whatever 4K counter you decide to play. But the play is drop Virgo for 5, Doffy for 3. You have 2 left over. That 2 leftovers for the Love Beam, and that's the play.
Now,
And
would you think that the 6/7 law, the one that takes a life, you have more cards in your hand, do you think that would be a good replacement for him?
Nope. I tried that card.
Not at all.
I wanted to Kaido people. That's how much I wanted to play that card.
I think it looks cool. It looks fun.
So this is the one is that your opponent has to have 6 cards. 6 cards for you to burn them. That's number 1. And by the time you drop him, your opponent doesn't have that many cards. It's a weird moment because if you want to drop him on curve, your opponent doesn't have that many cards. But if you wait till later, he's not strong enough for later. Because if your opponent has 6 cards and you're in late game, if they have more than 6 or more cards, you're losing that game. It doesn't burn. Okay, paid what? He's a 6/7 drop.
He's a 6 cost 7,000.
Yeah. I paid 6, so that you have a 6 card hand minimum. I gave you another card, and I'm playing with him, and I only have 4 Dawn left. No, this is not a good game.
I see you've thought about this a lot.
Oh man, because Law is my favorite character. So if I could play Law, I will. The only reason I didn't play Law for Treasure Cup was because I was playtesting it, and I was like, I'm not confident in this because that's where one of the moments where I talked about before, we talked about before, where players have to be comfortable with their list. I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
I was like, this could be best deck. This could be the best deck 5 ways to Saturday. I can't do it. So I need to.
I low key feel that way about Kid sometimes too. Like Kid, it feels like if you misplay one time, you kind of like set yourself behind. And because I play so much Crocodile, that like playing Kid is a little foreign to me. And like I don't have enough fun with him to actually play him enough to where if I take him to a big event, I feel like I'm a great player. But like I feel like if I take Kid to a big event, I'd have to play him way more, and I just don't have fun playing Kid. So like that's 100% right.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I play the Virgos, because he's a 5 cost. You can play him, Doffy, and then you have 2 for your event. And because that's a nice solid 10 Dawn, it's a decent card, and it helps you in your Kid matchup. But I hate the card. I can't wait till that. I want that card out. But as of right now, he has to be there.
Is there something in set 2 you would replace it with?
Yes, I replaced it with the vanilla Gecko Moria. I replaced it with that or the 6-drop Luffy.
Okay. Okay.
That boy is too strong.
You talking about the one with Rush, right?
No. So what the 6-drop Luffy does, it's on play and on attack. You discard 2 cards, bounce a 3 or less.
Yeah. I thought he had Rush too.
No, he has double attack.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's the one that works with Ivankov.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because he's generic, you could just play him, and he helps in Doffy turns where you're like, I'm going to kill you with my 2 attackers. Because sometimes Doffy has a hard time wanting to be, I have blockers or I have attackers.
Yeah.
You know, but because with the Luffy and he has double attack, it's cool. I can have a Luffy and my leader hit you and then have 3-4 blockers, you know?
Yeah.
Because this Luffy has double attack, and if I hit you, it's over, and he gets to bounce your blocker.
Wow.
Because the thing is, and then what happens is that it only gives the opponent 2 options. It's either go for the 7k Luffy or go for my face. You don't get to kill my board because my board is blockers. And I'm either gonna so if you go soft with me and be like 7 to Luffy, I drop a counter. And then if you go big, I do the blocker. And that's the mindset that I'm going towards set 2 with. I'm still testing set 2.
Yeah, me too.
But that's the mindset I have going forward with it. I'm gonna try to put in a bigger Ivankov Impel Down package. Like I may try, because right now, the only cards I added that are set 2 are 2 of the Luffy's, 3 of the Gecko Moria vanilla, and then 2 of the 2-cost event.
Yeah.
That you bounce a 4 or less, and then on trigger bounce a 4 or less.
Yeah. What do you think of Overheat versus Love Mellow?
I used to have a fetish about Overheat. I used to think that was the strongest card. But then when people started to realize how to properly play the game, the card because at the beginning when the game was fresh, everyone kind of treated it to whatever card game they were most affiliated with. So I know at least at my community, there's like Yu-Gi-Oh is the more prominent game.
Yeah.
In the area. So a lot of people at first were kind of like summon, and then treated it as like a battle phase.
Yeah, literally.
So it made it strong when they're like summon, swing, and then you're like, because Overheat only bounces actives.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. So because of that, that's what the early days of Overheat was the best card.
I was gonna say, like, Overheat's like the biggest noob stomper card. Like, if you miss sequence, you like lose automatically.
Yeah, that like, and that's the thing. Overheat. If you look at it in a vacuum, overheat's the stronger of all the blue events. The issue is that if you're going against someone that sequences even like a 5 out of 10, it'll never. It's like it's kind of like it kind of reminds me of people who play Red Hawk, and then like even though their opponent is reading the Red Hawk and they give their units Dawn so they're over 4K,
Yeah.
so they get popped, and then they still hang on to the Red Hawk. So they're like, I'm gonna wait for the moment that he forgets to do it. And then because there were so many games where I saw people hang on to Red Hawks because they're like, oh
It's
man,
just not the time yet. It's just not the time yet.
like he did it right this time, but next he's gonna forget. No, if I did it right the first time, guess what I'm gonna keep.
And that's how you find out who's actually like who knows the game too. Because I've seen plenty of games where like someone will be playing against like a red deck and they'll swing at their life and like they'll trigger into a jet pistol and like kill Hawkins because they didn't put a Dawn on Hawkins, right? Like they don't swing with like it's like stuff like that. Like it's another layer to the game. It's like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do if this triggers, right? Like I find myself like like sometimes there's no way to play around it, but I'm like, oh, if he triggers Red Hawk, I lose, right? Like it's just stuff like that that like I don't think people get that a lot of times, and especially at the higher tables, you should never like if they do it right the first time, odds are they're gonna do it right the second time. You know, like there's no way they're gonna like play into your jet pistol off the trigger. Like that just doesn't make any sense.
I will say this: the best red players I've seen are the ones that the opponent swings for like 6, right? But but the opponent, for example, has like 2 blockers, and then and the red player has like 4 active Dawn, and then I saw a player literally go, the dude's like swing for 6, dude goes, and he has the guard, he has 7 cards in hand, he has 2Ks, but he just goes, Red Hawk, kill the blocker, even though it was just a 2K counter that he needed.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm treating these as pops. I'm not treating this as a counter anymore.
Yeah.
And I think tell when a red player is a real red player when they go, this Red Hawk is not a defensive tool anymore. It's now my offensive tool.
Yeah.
And but and then you can tell when they're new to red when they're trying to, because sometimes you just gotta let the Red Hawk be a 4K counter and accept you're not gonna pop anything.
Yeah.
But when you hold it, you lose.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long. It's going to be more of a podcast style thing, but any final words to people playing Doffy before we wrap this up?
I got you. The best thing I can say is play your game. Don't play your opponent's game, because the moment because Doffy, how it's built is that you're taking advantage of you stacking your deck and you following through with your play. And it's one of those things where it's that the moment you try to change your play to your opponent, your stack doesn't follow that anymore. And I'm not saying it that, well, I did a bad stack, do I need to follow through? No, but then that's where you have to look at yourself and say, what's the best generic play? And a very quick example I can give is, let's say you stack your deck and there's a Teach, but your opponent's board is empty. Most people don't put in the Teach as the next summon because they're like, well, my opponent might not play a 3 or less, and I don't want to have this be my summon because then I'm going to waste it.
Yeah.
Don't be it there, because the whole reason you stacked it to begin with was because you played a Perona or a Doffy.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is you stack the Teach, do it. If they play a 3, great. Or a blocker, great. You're the greatest player ever. You giga brain them, you know?
Yeah.
But if you go, that's fine. 7 Doffy swing effect. Play the Teach. Bounce the Perona or the Doffy. Or even the Alvida that you play to force them. You're like, cool, put this back in my hand.
Yep. And I was going to say, my brother, like when we first started playing, he did that. And I was like, damn, that was so smart, right? Like now he has another stack, like, or he has a 2K. He didn't play the Alvida at first, but like just like bouncing back like your own cards can sometimes be very valuable. But all right, so we'll end the video. We're at about an hour now. I gotta edit some things out, like when your
Course,
mic
yeah.
was cutting out. But hey, real quick, don't leave. I gotta ask you a couple of questions off the stream. But anyway, guys, check out his channel. It's Manifest Gaming. I'll have a link to it down in the description if you guys want to check it out. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.